Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about my crazy record collection, and I want to talk to you about the cornerstones of my vinyl collection. These bands and artists that take up about 25% of my vinyl collection. And I know that sounds like a crazy number, and it is. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about these 12 bands and artists. They take up so many records, but also bring me so much joy. So, I have, including some 45s, I would have to differentiate. I have probably about 2,000 vinyl records. I know to a lot of you, you will be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. You have a problem. You need to clean out your record collection. You are a hoarder. But no, I'm not. I keep my collections very neat. They all have a place. They're all clean. They're all filed away. You have to look really hard to find vinyl records in my house, actually. For a lot of you, though, who've been collecting for so much longer than me, you're like, 2,000 records? That's nothing. No big deal at all. So I'm kind of what I would consider myself here in the vinyl community, a schmedium record collector, for my numbers. But there are some really cool artists and bands I have a lot of records of. A few of them really surprised me. I didn't know I had this much from them. And I want to talk to you about that. I did lay out some rules for myself. First off, I did not count my 45. So some bands would greatly improve their odds of being on this list if I had counted my 45s, but I didn't. I did count my 12-inch singles though, because they kind of side by side with my regular records, and I do pull those out all the time and enjoy them. Sometimes I'm just in the mood to hear a certain song, and I think those 12-inch maxi singles sound fantastic. So I counted those along with some of the others. Also, certain box sets that are dedicated to just one album, like the latest Beatles release was Revolver. There's several albums in a box set, but they all are dedicated to the album Revolver. I only counted it as one album. With studio box sets, studio album box sets like the Beatles in mono, though, I counted each album as one. So those are the rules that I established for myself. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to give honorable mentions to Led Zeppelin and Queen. I have 17 records of Led Zeppelin, 17 records of Queen. They didn't quite make the list of top 12. They were really close though. So at number 12 with 18 records, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And I love this record. It is Southern accents. It's probably what a lot of people would even consider as best. It's very sentimental to me. 5 years ago, my husband, maybe even 6 years ago by now, I've lost count. But anyway, on a Valentine's Day, he had been on a business trip and he came home late on Valentine's Day night. He brought home a really good turntable and some records for me. And this was one of those records, along with Cheap Trick Live at Budokan and maybe one or two more, and I don't remember what they were. But this one was a standout to me. So it was one of the first ones I ever put on my turntable. Kind of got me started. I had already had some of the vinyl records I'd wanted, but I just wasn't happy with the sound quality with the cheap stuff I was playing it on. I had one of those that just didn't sound very good. So this is a really special record to me. I love the song Southern Accents, and Don't Come Around Here No More was a huge hit for Tom Petty. Also, I want to show this one too because I really feel like it's an underlooked Tom Petty record. Has really cool songs on here like You Got Lucky, also Change of Heart. I love this record, and I have a really good memory of just being at a flea market and bargaining with somebody. Ended up buying it for $9, which was good for them and good for me. Nowadays, it probably sells for a lot more money. But anyway, Tom Petty is at number 12. I have 18 records from Tom Petty. At number 11 with 19 records, Prince, 1999 is one of my favorites. I have the 4LP box set. Prince is one of my favorite guitarists of all time. He's definitely in my top 10. And he's just a tremendous artist. And he put out so many great records right at a time when I was a teenager. 1999 is probably my favorite. I also have a really cool Prince graffiti bridge. This is an original. That's really cool. I love his maxi singles. I think he has some of the best ones ever, and I had to have this one, Prince and the Revolution. The A side is Let's Go Crazy, but I really bought it for the B side because I love the groove and the dance beat of Erotic City. Don't play it in front of your kids, but this song is incredible, and I love putting Erotic City on. Just makes you want to get up and dance. Also, I have to show this one, Sign of the Times. This is a really cool original. I love this one. This one was came out around my senior year of high school, and I have great memories of dancing to all the songs that were on this album. So Prince at number 11 with 19 records. At number 10, this is one that really surprised me. I did not know I had 20 records from Ozzy Osbourne. But it does make sense. I bought that Ozzy Osbourne box set. So I have his studio albums, I have some live albums. This is one that we were all dying to get a reissue. It finally did. You didn't have to have the box set to get it, but I love the box set version, 2 LPs, and it came on a really cool splatter vinyl. All of the records on that box set, they all sound really great. It came with his autograph. And I really love having the Ozzy Osbourne records. And I also picked up Patient number 9. This is an alternative cover. Really cool artwork on this one. And he just won a couple of Grammys for this album. So good for Ozzy. So at number 10, Ozzy Osbourne with 20 records. Number 9. This one surprised me too because I'm thinking, how in the world do I have 23 albums by Pink Floyd? I have their studio albums, not even all of them. I don't even have all of their studio albums. So I'm thinking, how in the world do I have 23 records? But I have 2 of these, Pink Floyd Pipers at the Gates of Dawn. This is my UK stereo version. I have a Record Store Day version of the mono release, and it's such a great album. I also have a really cool Record Store Day release. This is Pink Floyd, London, 1966, 1967. It is a white vinyl release that came out. And it has really cool songs. We have Interstellar Overdrive at 16 minutes and 46 seconds, and also Nick's Boogie at 11 minutes and 50 seconds. So, I have a lot of really cool records. I have a greatest hits compilation, which I think when it comes to Pink Floyd, that's like the weirdest record I own. You have to listen to them as studio artists and whole record listening. You just got to sit down and listen to the whole records. So I find that to be a very interesting greatest hits. But again, I have 23 records by Pink Floyd. At number 8, it was very interesting. Another huge surprise. I have 24 records by Bill Evans. And I have to really credit Analog Productions, the Acoustic Sound series, for the majority of my Bill Evans collection. But I did get some Record Store Day records along the way to bring that number up. Of course, I got the Bill Evans box set. I've been buying from the Acoustic Sound series. There's been some really great Bill Evans releases. I love Bill Evans. He's one of my favorite jazz artists. Amazing on the piano, just killer music. So, wow, I didn't know I had been building up such a collection of Bill Evans. At number 7, this is probably going to surprise you the most. It did me because this is my favorite band of all time, Van Halen. I have 39 records from Van Halen. Now, we go from 24 of Bill Evans to 39 of Van Halen. And of course, I wanted to show this one. It's a Diver Down. It's just a basic, US copy, but I love having the one with the hype sticker on it. This is really truly the record that really caught my attention when it came to Van Halen. I loved the version of Pretty Woman. I loved hearing it. I thought it was so cool. Roy Orbison, I grew up with Mom's 45 of Pretty Woman, but when I heard what Eddie could do to it and Dave's finesse, wow, I was sold immediately. This is another just a little cool 12-inch single in my collection I wanted to show about the 39 records in my collection of Van Halen. This is a 12-inch single of Pound Cake. I love that it still has the Ear Ecstasy price and import sign. I thought that's really, really cool. This one also has on side B Pleasure Dome and an interview with Van Halen. So that's a very cool one too for me. Van Halen, my favorite band of all time. And I have 39 records, and I think it's going to continue to climb as Mobile Fidelity puts out their one steps. I have heard, at least from an interview with Sammy Hagar, that they are remastering the Van Hagar years. So hopefully there'll also be some really cool releases, reissues, and I will probably buy them. So I'm really looking forward to that. So number 7, Van Halen. At number 6, Kiss. I have 41 Kiss records. These are just a couple of my highlights. There's so many Kiss fans out there that they're going to sit and see my collection and yawn. And yet I really love Kiss. I don't need to have every single thing. So many people are so gung-ho on Kiss. They have to have every single record from every country, every weird, interesting feature that, variant. I would love to have those, but I'm just really interested primarily in music. But I do have this one. It's a gold stamp promo. I don't know if you could see the gold right here. It's a gold stamp promo. And on the record itself, it does say promotional copy, not for sale. So that one is one of the highlights of my collection. I also want to show one that just brings me a lot of joy and listening pleasure. I really like Kiss Destroyer. This is Resurrected. This was one that came out, and they took Destroyer. Bob Ezrin remastered it. He made some changes, made it very interesting. Now, on the song God of Thunder, I believe it was Bob Ezrin's kids actually make those ghoulish sounds, a little kid talk on there. Kind of increased that a little bit. I think the sound quality on this is really good. It's just a really refreshing take of Kiss's Destroyer album. So I have 41 records by Kiss. I don't have all of the studio albums, but I have nearly all of them. I also have a priced record, Kiss Symphony, that I really love. So let's go ahead and go to number 5. This one really surprised me. Miles Davis. I have 46 records by Miles Davis. I think I have about everything I need. I'm waiting on the one step of Bitches Brew and Sketches of Spain. Those aren't have-to-haves, but they'd be really cool to have. This is an original of Birth of the Cool. I also have an original of Bitches Brew. So Miles Davis, 46 records. Behind me, I have a lot of the Mobile Fidelity releases that were Miles Davis, and they're top notch. So next, at number 4, Paul McCartney. This one I wanted to show because it's very sentimental to me. It's probably one of the first what I would call grail records I ever bought. Early on when I was collecting, this was up on a holy moly wall. It is Wingspan. It is Hits and History. It is Paul McCartney and his band Wings. I do count Wings and Paul McCartney solo records together, and that's how I came up with him at number 4. You can't beat Paul McCartney. He's my favorite solo artist of all time, although I have an artist I actually have more records of, and that was another surprise when I did this video. I was like, wow, I cannot believe it. But I love Paul McCartney. Here is another really cool record that I have by Paul McCartney. This is Pure McCartney. This is a box set, and very early on when I started making my videos, this was gifted to me by Mazzy from the Norman Maslow channel. And he very sweetly gave this to me. He was very generous. And this is a tremendous box set. And I believe Paul McCartney selected each song himself of what he wanted on this wonderful box set. So I love having that one in the collection. At number 3, the artist that surpasses Paul McCartney. And it was a shocker because I haven't been as big of a fan for as long. But talking about Bob Dylan, I love Bob Dylan. This is my favorite album cover he did, although there's a lot of very cool ones. I guess I choose this one as my favorite because he's actually kind of smiling, even though he's not looking at the camera. He's smiling in this photo. That's so rare to see Bob Dylan with a full-fledged smile, and he just looks really cool in this hat. And I have a lot of really wonderful records by Bob Dylan. I've collected the Mo-Fis. I have the mono box set, which is also fantastic. I've collected a lot of his studio albums. I don't have them all, but I've got a lot, and have some greatest hits things, including Bob Dylan's Unplugged, the MTV record, which is really, really good. So I cannot believe I have this many Bob Dylan records in such a short time. 57 Bob Dylan records. At number 2, the Rolling Stones. I have Out of Our Heads, really cool. This is a mono copy, an original. Really, really great. Goat Head Soup. This one's sentimental because my sister's name is Angie, and you bet I sang that to her a lot. She didn't like that song, so I loved singing it to her because I loved pestering her. And this is a really cool record with a lot of great memories for me. I'm also a big sucker when it comes to the Rolling Stones. I love these live albums. This is Hampton Coliseum. I love the packaging, the beautiful pictures. I love these live concerts. Do they sound great? Depends. Some of them sound better than others, but this one is one of my favorites, and it is on red vinyl. So anytime I see these and I have the extra money, I will buy them. I don't have them all because I don't always have the extra money. But I also have a lot of the Rolling Stones because I have the black vinyl version of the mono box set as well as the colored vinyl version of the mono box set. I will tell you, they both sound very good. They sound identical to me. I couldn't tell any difference. So if you're worried about the colored vinyl version having some surface noise, and maybe for some people they hear that, but I gave my records a good cleaning. I didn't hear it. I think they sound great. The black vinyl version is wonderful, but you know what? That created a huge number for me when it comes to the Rolling Stones. And of course, they're one of the best bands of all time, right up there with my number 1. And by the way, I have 66 in total records by not Bob Dylan, the Rolling Stones, 66 records. This brings us to number 1. Drum roll. At number 1, of course, the Beatles. And yes, I have the US pressings. I have all of the UK pressings. I have multiple pressings. If I didn't say this at the beginning of the video, I counted every Sgt. Pepper I have, every White Album I have. They all got counted because with some bands you have multiple copies of the same record, and to me that counts. I added those along. This is the highlight. This is one of them that's just really cool. I don't have the what they say, the Horzo or Horzu version of Magical Mystery Tour, but this one is the same metalwork and it sounds fantastic. And this is one that I've had since the beginning, the summer of when I started vinyl collecting. I started probably in December or January of making videos, I should say. And around the summertime, very early on, I got sent this as a VCLT from Steve, Harmless Rebel. He sent this UK version of the Beatles box from Liverpool. I think this was one you ordered online. Maybe they had a special hotline on TV they commercialized, or something you could do for a mail order. I don't know, but this is a tremendous box set. I have the UK version. To me, it sounds really great. It came from other states and countries as well. I mean, I don't know if they all sound great, but I'm really happy with this one, and it's just really cool to have. With a total of 102 records from the Beatles, they take up the biggest amount of numbers in my vinyl collection. I have more Beatles records than any other band in my collection. And I know people like me, Mr. Mayo, or Mazzy, or even Matthew Street hear the number 102 and they're like, that's cute. Because I know they have so many more. Because there's so many bootlegs, there's so many avenues you can go when it comes to the Beatles. I think I have everything I need, but of course I'm still going to continue to buy when they put out those Giles Martin remixes and those box sets. I'll probably buy anything the Beatles put out. So those are my 12 biggest artists and bands in my collection. They make up 508 records. Who are the ones you collect the most? Who has the biggest percentage of records in your collection? If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Let me know who are the bands in your collection that take up the most shelf, take up the most space. I would really appreciate it. I'd love to hear your input. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.